Do you ever feel like you're talking to a brick wall when you're asking your kids to do something? It's like no matter how many times you tell them to do it and they don't do it, or one day they do it and then the next they don't, it's exhausting, right? And you want a way to get your kids to follow your directions. There are so many ways to change behaviors, but you need ideas that you can use right away. And that's why I've created these series of short videos just like this one to give you the tools and ideas that you can start to use right away. And you can watch them at any time that works for you. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why it feels like you're talking to a brick wall and why this happens and what you can do about it. But if you really want to see significant changes to change your child's behavior, I recommend going to kidsmoveandlearn.com, getting our guidebook, and watching all 16 of our videos. And if you give yourself a little bit of time after each video to reflect, you're going to be able to make those significant changes. But right now, let's dive into this video and look at why they're not following your expectation and what you can do about it. What if I told you that if you narrowed your expectation list to focus on one thing at a time, you will see significant changes in that behavior, and then they will start to follow your directions. In this video, we're going to review our list of expectations and focus on one thing that you want your child to start doing. So if you haven't already watched the other video, take a moment right now and pause this or write down all of your expectations that you have for your child. Things on your list might be stop running around the house, brush their teeth, clean up their toys. Then once you have your list, check mark a few things that they're doing and put a star beside some things that you want them to do. And then the thing that you really want them to work on has a double star. In a perfect world, what would you want to see your child doing? What would it look like? What would it sound like? What would it feel like? Picture this expectation. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Write it down on a piece of paper, or in the guidebook, there's a spot for it. This is what teachers do. They think backwards. They think about what's the end result of the expectation. So I want you to think backwards like that too to make it happen. So once you got a few ideas, pause and think about your child as if they were an alien. Assume they didn't know anything. Take another look at your list and add any more details that you can think about. And think about specifically in your expectation. You know, maybe for somebody else, they have a slightly different expectation. For example, cleanup might be toys away. Well, what does away look like? Does it mean on the shelf? Does it mean sorted in bins? Does it mean in the closet? Those are what it may look like. And when you think about feel like, it means calmness. Does it mean excitement? It depends on your expectation. Keep this description handy, and when you're needing to explain the directions to your kids, you can have this as a quick reference for yourself. And in other videos, I dive into deeper of how to teach those expectations to your kids. But now let's keep thinking about this brick wall. Why does it matter to you for them to listen and follow this direction? Why does it matter what it looks like, sounds like, or feels like? No, seriously, I want you to think about this question. Why does it really matter to you? Because if you have a reason why, it will help you stay focused. Is it because you want them to be healthy? Because you want the house clean? You like the schedules? Or you value certain things? Or maybe it's something else. You likely have a similar list of expectations to your neighbor or your sibling, but it's likely that your first choice is different. And that's because each family, child, and dynamic is very unique. So as I explain later in another video, there's a lot of different situations. You might be working, or you might be stay-at-home parent, you might be single, you might be married, you might be divorced, you might have a new baby on the way, or maybe this is your baby. The point is that you can't compare your priority to another parent. Know your focus and why it's important to you. So here's an example of knowing my why and how it helps me stay focused and confident. For years, I have not been a great role model in getting my son to eat more vegetables. I can follow a plan and probably get him to change his eating habits, but my priorities have been elsewhere. Our family dynamic is complex, and I've chosen to put priorities in other places. So when I focus on some things, it changes month to month. But every single time I focus, I stay true and follow through when I make it a priority. And it seems like every month there's something else that's more important than vegetables. At least that's for my child, and that's through consulting with his pediatrician. So for you and your child, it might be very different. So back to your family. Whatever priority you pick, Stay true and follow through so your child will see it a priority too. And then think about why the expectation with this double star is most important to you. Knowing your why can keep you motivated and focused during all those tough times. It can also help you alleviate distractions and other details that may not matter at this time. So make sure you write down your why and describe why it's important to you. And also, if your child meets this expectation, how are you going to feel? What sense of accomplishment do you expect to feel? Now that you know your why and how you hope to feel about it, also think about how much effort do you want to put in it? Be realistic. You're a busy parent. So if you have a sheet of paper, just take a note adding to that description of priority as to how much percent you want to make of an effort. Be realistic. Knowing how important this is to you can help determine how much effort you're going to take. And don't forget, be kind to yourself. It's not going to be easy and it's going to take time. What are you going to do for yourself along the way? Or what are you going to do for yourself when you see your child's success? Because if you build in a habit of rewarding yourself and working hard on changing this behavior, things are going to become more of a routine, and that is what will make things more natural. So think about something that you love to do for yourself. Is it to buy a latte? Is it to have a bubble bath? Or maybe visit a child without a friend in tow? That's going to be your reward. We're going to come back to this in greater detail later in another video, but write it down so you can keep reminding yourself that this hard work is going to be rewarded. And it's okay if you reward yourself on all the baby steps. In this video, there are 3 main things that we covered that you can visualize and describe success, because it will help clarify your expectations to your child. And knowing your why is going to keep you motivated and focused. And you're going to be kind to yourself because it takes time. And to make this meaningful to your individual situation, I suggest grabbing our guidebook from kidsmoveandlearn.com and follow these 3 suggestions. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the next video. And if you found this really helpful, go ahead and share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us. Thanks.